This podcast is brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
Because if you can tell me what your habits are, I can tell you what sort of a person you are. I can tell you what your future looks like.
But like I always say, life is 10% what happens to you, is 90% what you do about it.
The people who are most effective in the workplace believe that their future is going to be bigger than their past. When people don't believe that their future is going to be bigger than their past, they begin to disengage.
You're listening to The Circuit of Success, a podcast dedicated to helping you achieve success in every facet of life. Only on the lineupmedia.fm podcast network. Now, your host, Brett Gilliland.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland, co-founder and CEO of Visionary Wealth Advisors. I'm excited today. Anybody who listens to this show knows I love to talk baseball. And now today, I'm going to talk to James Lowe, a.k.a. Coach Ballgame. How you doing, Coach?
I'm really good, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's awesome to have you. It's, I wasn't familiar with your story. About a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was at a Zoom call. I'm not name dropping here, but this was a board meeting that I was a part of. Joe Buck was there and he was speaking and he said, hey, for any of you that have kids and want a good follow on Instagram, follow Coach Ballgame. And I'm like, so I immediately go to the Zoom deal or the Instagram during the meeting. I look you up, I hit you up with a message, and now here we are about a week and a half later, and Joe Buck's the man.
Hey, Joe Buck is a name I drop constantly just because I love the guy. But I met him through a mutual friend playing music here in LA. He's super passionate about baseball. But What I didn't know was he was super passionate about kids and growing the game. And when he started following me on Instagram, we just became good buddies. And he's really opened some doors for me. He's flown to New York and tried to get MLB to bring me on as a coach for their play ball camps. And, he sent me to St. Louis. I got to interview Ozzie Smith and got his autograph right here. Joe Buck's the man. And I don't think a lot of people realize how funny he is and how much he wants to grow the game. He's got those twin boys now. So I love me some Joe Buck and I love me some St. Louis.
Amen. And I know, unfortunately for you were forced to grow up as a Cubs fan. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, I did. I grew up in North Carolina where there was no teams to root for, not in Tennessee, Virginia. You had the Braves, you had the Orioles. But for me, I would come home from school when I was 7 years old, make a big bowl of applesauce, and I'd watch the entire Cubs game on WGN. Yeah. And Harry Carey, he won me over pretty quick with his antics and just his voice and his energy, his passion for the game. Andre Dawson became my favorite player, still is to this day, all time. And that was my youth. Harry and Steve Stone were the soundtrack to my youth, and fell in love with the Cubs. Watched a ton of Cubs-Cardinals games, and the funny thing is, as I'm still a huge Cubs fan and got to meet Joe Madden and Anthony Rizzo and shake their hands, I've met way more St. Louis Cardinals. Harrison Bader. Oh, yeah. I got to do an Attaboy challenge with him, and I got to interview Ozzie and Albert Pujols, who obviously has great ties to St. Louis, Jim Edmonds, Tony La Russa, Al Raboski, the list goes on. But man, St. Louis, as Ozzie said, when I met him, he said, St. Louis, great baseball town. and then he got in his car and drove off. But I think Ozzie and Joe were the two people that just kind of opened my eyes to people in St. Louis love baseball, and they're really good people, because Ozzie, he didn't treat me less than when I was interviewing him or asking him about drills he did as a kid. And Joe, same way. Just, they don't treat me less than. Nobody knows me, but they saw my energy and my love for coaching kids, and they related to that. And I'm grateful for them.
That's awesome. Well, I got a good Andre Dawson story. You want to hear it?
Please. I've got a great Andre Dawson song for you that I wrote.
So I was in college. I was a bartender in Mattoon, Illinois, at a place called the Alamo Steakhouse. And Mattoon is a big baseball town. And my buddy Matt Cornell, he's running it was the Cal Ripken World Series. Have you ever heard of that? And so
Yes.
Before Cal Ripken did it up in Baltimore, somehow Mattoon, Illinois got the rights for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years to host the tournament. And they have tournaments, for teams from all over the world. And so they would bring in these celebrity baseball players throughout the week. And one night, I think it was a Sunday night, Matt, my buddy, walks up and he says, "Hey, is your Budweiser cold?" I said, "Well, yeah, of course. It's always cold. What's your question?" And he's like, "Cal Ripken Jr. is going to be here in about 5 minutes." I said, "No way." It was Cal Ripken Jr., Matt Cornell, myself, and like 2 regulars sitting at the bar. And this is before, social media, before everybody had cell phones. It's a Sunday night. There's nobody sitting there. We're hanging out, watching ESPN. I'm serving these guys some drinks, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, another person shows up. Another person shows up. We get a city ordinance that we get to keep the bar open till like whenever they want to shut it down. So I'm bartending by myself, and in walks Andre Dawson. In walks Vita Blue. All these people, and ends up being, probably 150 people in this bar, and me serving drinks to these guys. And it was one of the best nights of my life. Cal Ripken Jr. walks up, gives me a hug. He's like, "You're awesome." Hands me 3 $100 bills, and he walks out. And I'm like, incredible. But Andre Dawson, Vita Blue, all those guys, what you just said, man, they just were there. They're normal humans, but they were huge stars back in the day. I mean, still are, right?
Yeah,
So cool.
and a big reason why everybody should wait tables or tend bar at some point in their life. I always tell any kid I meet, wait tables, because it teaches you social skills and it teaches you how to multitask.
Yeah.
I waited tables for 10 years at a place called the Warehouse Restaurant in Marina Del Rey. And same thing, you get to meet some stars once in a while. John Elway, I got to meet him, and Adam Sandler and Kevin Nealon. But same thing happens, they're just regular people. They just want a steak, or they just want a drink. And, pretty awesome story there though. Cal Ripken Jr. and Andre.
That's right.
I'm interested. Were you able to shake any hands, at that table?
100%. Yeah.
Oof.
Shook hands. I've got a menu from the Alamo Steakhouse. Sorry, Nancy and Ken, if they're listening to this, the owners of that. I think I stole a menu, and but it says to Brett, what a great night, Cal Ripken Jr., and it was phenomenal.
I'm always interested. COVID's kind of put a pause on this, but I love shaking hands of everybody I meet, just to see like a Major League Baseball hand, because they're so big. And the biggest I've found is Anthony Rizzo. It was kind of like a bear just swallowed me up. Yeah. But when you think about all the power they have with that bat, a lot of it's just right there in the hand. So that really, that puts a nice mark on meeting these people, is giving them that good shake. So I hope that comes back one of these days. I do too. Yeah. Well, we could talk baseball stories all day long, but let's talk about who James Lowe is, who Coach Ballgame is. For those people that may not know your story, you don't just wake up and start, coaching these things and interviewing Ozzie Smith and doing this. You've had to work hard and take risks, but who is James Lowe? Who is Coach Ballgame? Well, I grew up in a one-horse town in North Carolina called Asheboro, just south of Greensboro. And I had a big backyard, small house, big backyard, 2 older brothers and a dad that were sports crazy. So they would teach me all sports, basketball, baseball, football, horseshoes, all of it. And I was the youngest by a good margin. So we would always be playing sandlot baseball in the backyard, trying to hit tennis balls over the house. And my mom, she did everything else. She did the cooking, the cleaning, and making sure we were all good boys. So that's where I fell in love with the game. I played through school, got a chance to go to Brown University and play 4 years there. Proud to be the captain there. And I was kind of the middle of the pack talent, but sure. I threw a lot of energy into the game, and I would jump into walls and dive over tarps and do whatever I needed to do to get a starting job. And that really opened up every other door since. Just going to Brown and meeting those great teammates. It got me to LA, where I studied business econ and I studied theater arts at Brown. And really not knowing what I wanted to do, I went to LA and I had a job coaching youth baseball camps with a friend of mine, Dan Spring, who actually played with the Cardinals for a year and then moved to LA to start coaching kids. I also wanted to pursue writing and acting and improvisation. So LA was the spot. Spent 10 years there waiting tables, auditioning, but the through line was always coaching kids. And then I met my wife, who's an Orange County gal. We set up shop here in Orange County, and I've been running my own camps and clinics and what I call sandlots for 5.5 years now down here. And thank God it just keeps growing to where now I'm in a different town every day after school programs that I call sandlots, just dropping bases down and coaching the game. And thought about being a teacher. Obviously worked hard to be an actor and a writer, but I think I get to kind of marry everything that I love, which is playing drums, music, creating, writing, poetry, being an artist, coaching, and baseball. I get to marry it all into one job now, which is coach Ballgame. So
yeah, and so talk about that, because again, there's a lot of people that coach baseball out there, but now you're talking about drums, music, poetry, and baseball. And from what I've seen, the research I've done, you're doing camps completely different than what my kids go to or I went to as a child. It's here, go here, and here's how you're going to learn to hit, and here's how you're going to learn to throw a ball, right? All that stuff. And so, but you're doing it completely differently. You're trying to change the game.
Right. And I don't think it's it wasn't born from hey, let's try something different. It was born from stories I was being told by parents. Hey, my 6-year-old's going to give baseball one last try. And I'm like, what do you mean one last try? I didn't even start playing till I was 8. And they said we had a bad experience with a coach. There was a lot of pressure, a lot of negativity. And I'm like, man, that they're not able to compartmentalize that and in a healthy way until they're at least 13, 14. And for me, it was college. Like I couldn't really handle pressure until college. So they're not mature. You just want them to come back. You want them to come back next year and realize that that patch of grass with those pillows on the ground and this ball and this stick, it's a birthday party. It's super fun. So I try to be the first coach any kid has, just to introduce them to how much fun the game can be. I've always loved drums, so I started setting up a conga or my drum set in the on-deck circle. One, it gets the kids out of the dugout because, you know, they like to, especially at a young age, 4, 5, 6, they like to not pay attention. So get them out, playing the drums, and it really sets this vibe, this energetic vibe from the dugout and from the on-deck circle, that baseball is really fun. And another thing that Coach Ballgame stands on top of being fun, is building character and positivity and kindness. So when you've got a kid wailing on a conga in the on-deck circle and they're cheering positive things, all the other kids see that and they're like, oh, I guess I need to be positive. I need to be kind. I need to have fun energy. And everybody jumps on board. So the baseball skills, the learning how to hit, very important to me, but it's down the list. I want to make them a better person, and I want to make sure they're having a ton of fun. And I want to make sure I relate with each one of them, connecting with them. Name drop salute. I got to meet Ken Griffey Jr. Through Joe Buck. And I said, hey, what's your advice to me as a youth coach? He said, connect with your players. Connect with them, find out everything you can about them before you teach them how to hit a baseball. And so what I do is give them all a nickname based on something they love or something about them, their favorite player, their favorite food. And so I'm up to, I don't know, 10, 20,000 nicknames in my lifetime of dishing out, combinations of their favorite player, their favorite cereal, grizzly bear water slide, crime frog, raising Arizona. One kid comes up to me and says, Coach, I want my nickname to be Eternal Desert Boy because I love the desert. And, Lime Stewarts. And one thing I really love is seeing the different nicknames in different states, right? In California, you get a lot of skateboard, surfboard, things that have to do with avocados. And then out in Louisiana, it's all about gator skin and gumbo and shooting rifles. And it's pretty cool to see all the differences. But the reason for that is very important. And I think it's the most important thing I teach to any of my fellow coaches is spend 10, 20 minutes if you have to on nicknames, because each kid feels heard by their coach. And you as the coach can really relate to them and find out how they tick, because you've got different kinds of kids on a team of 9. Usually you'll have 3 or 4 different groups of kids, skill level, shy, gregarious, all across the board. So that connection is super, super important. So yeah, the Coach Ballgame stands on building character, having lots of fun, and then building those skills in a fun, kind of engaging, different way. And that's where I can bring in poetry and song.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good for you. I mean, I think it's cool. To me, it sounds like you're following your passion. I mean, when you hear on the surface, I'm running baseball camps, and then you hear all the stuff you're doing though, and you're doing stuff with Major League Baseball and other baseball, players and all these cities and states around the country. This is more than about baseball, right? So what's the purpose behind this for Coach Ballgame?
Yeah, well, that's what really stuck out to Joe Buck, is that it transcends baseball and it can build communities. And for me, I think my ultimate goal before I get too old is to be able to hit every state at least, and maybe even every town, and just what I've noticed about how the Sandlot and the positivity that comes from these sandlots, how it impacts the kids, the parents, the communities. It's so great. It's Extreme Makeover, Sandlot edition, and parents become better parents, coaches become better coaches, and the kids fall in love with being outdoors and playing sports because they've found this new forum of wait, this is super, super fun. There's no pressure to succeed because I look through the lens of am I making them come back next year, and am I making them a better person? I try to look through that lens with everything I teach. So the impact it has in Orange County, that needs to go all over the place. So, I mean, my goal is to get a network, get somebody to fund me in a Dumb and Dumber shaggin' wagon where I drive around the country and I drop bases down in different towns and I just run my Sandlot, and we find a Coach Ballgame in each town that can kind of carry the torch and spread the positivity, because with social media now and with the shutdown, I was able to run live YouTube PE classes in my backyard. And I started to see a lot of people in a lot of different states like responding to it and really digging the fun vibe. So
it's amazing how fast the world can become so much smaller, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. It really is. When you've got somebody in Denmark commenting on your YouTube, hey, I love the way you teach these kids. It's like, well, I guess I got to do a Sandlot in Denmark now. And you start to think, well, they don't even play baseball there. I could introduce the game to them. But as you said, way more important than baseball. It's not even about baseball. It's about finding the joy in life. And
Amen to that,
that's my purpose. I figured that out at about the age of 32, my parents put a lot of time and money into my Brown education. And here I am waiting tables and coaching Little League, but there was a bigger purpose, and now we found it. So
I bet Mom and Dad love that when you say, Mom, Dad, I know I went to, a phenomenal university,
Yeah.
And I'm going to run baseball camps and wait on tables.
Yeah,
How'd that talk
exactly.
go?
And here's the deal. It went really well
Yeah.
because they're different.
Love and support.
They had that support. They just saw it. I mean, I think they saw what my wife saw and what Joe Buck saw, which is, this transcends baseball, this energy, this positivity, it's necessary. And they just saw I couldn't be behind a desk and I couldn't be indoors, and I had to really chase my dreams. And so they supported it 100%, which is
Awesome.
hard to do when you're throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars into that guy right there. But hey, that's my folks.
That's right. I love it. Hey, I got an idea for you. Maybe you've already done this, but why would I not have you come to St. Louis? We have a charity, my wife and I, Swing for Hope. Why would we not have a sandlot for hope? We get some local baseball players involved. We raise a bunch of money for cancer and we make an impact. What do you think?
I think it'd be rude not to. I think it would be rude not to. And I've already run one in St. Louis and absolutely loved it. And so it's time to do it again. And
I'm in.
We'll make it big, and maybe we can mix in some golf too. I'd love to do that.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about this Rod Carew story. So you and I were talking before we started recording, and you just so nonchalantly, is that his ball right there, Rod Carew, or that's the bat? No, right?
No, this is Luis Clemente, and I'll have to tell you that story. That's Roberto's son. Here's Ozzie, the wizard, but this is Rod Carew, the bat, and you see HOF 91 Hall of Famer. But yeah, it's one of my favorite, if not the favorite story I have in my book.
I want to set this story up if that's all right.
Yeah,
so,
please.
Because I think this is important for people to peel the onion layer back to talk about this. So you randomly are at a gas station.
Yes,
picking up
I go to a gas
sunflower
station.
seeds or whatever.
Well, it was bubble gum, and I never go into this gas station. And for some reason, I have a sandlot that I run in Laguna Hills. That's about 300 yards away from this gas station, but I never go inside. Sometimes I'll get gas, but I won't go in. But I was like, I'm craving some bubble gum. So I go into the gas station, and I had just been to Cleveland for the All-Star game, and they had these hats with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame logo on it. So I get behind a guy that looks a lot like Rod Carew, and then he turns, and I see the hat, and he's got a Minnesota Twins jacket on, and his face looked like Rod Carew. And the only thing I could say is, because I was standing right behind him, is, "You're Rod Carew."
He's like, "Yeah, no kidding, buddy. Thanks a lot."
He said, "Yes, I am." But immediately, it wasn't like I'm going to walk the other way and not talk to this guy. He just engaged, and he's like, "I am. What's your name?" And I said, "I'm James. I'm running a sandlot down the road. Can I get your," I mean, I was just fanboying it up, I'm sure. I don't even know what I was saying, but I went and got this bat. He signed it. He was actually waiting for his car to be washed, because that's where he gets his car washed. So we had some time to sit down, and I just got to talking with him about baseball and how I was at Cleveland for the All-Star game. And a couple people came up and asked for an autograph while we were sitting there, but I got to sit down and really chat with Rod Carew. And a couple of times he kept asking, "Where's that sandlot that you're running?" I said, "It is right down the road. You take a left at the next light." And wouldn't you know it, after about 10 minutes of running this sandlot, here comes this car, and there's Rod Carew, and he just sits in his car and watches the game for a while. And then I say, "Okay, time out, guys. Go into the shade for a team meeting. I got a special guest." And here comes Rod Carew, and he'd had the heart transplant. So he's got this, bag and this device that he's got to keep his heart going, but he walks over, and I say, "Okay, these kids, some of them play baseball. Some of them, this is their first time." But only one kid really knew who he was. All the parents, they were going nuts. They were videotaping and all this. He talks to the kids for about 20 minutes, tells them all about, why they should play baseball and what they should listen to as far as what the coaches say. And then he signed autographs. And it was actually his birthday the day before. So we sang happy birthday to Rod Carew. And we're walking off back to his car. And he turns to me and he says, "Hey, coach, are you here every Friday?" I said, "Yes, Rod Carew, I am." He said, "You'll see me again."
Oh,
And then he got in his car and he left. And I made a video about it on my YouTube channel. You can see it, and you can see him talking to the kids. But that Hall of Famer, he gave me a real life Field of Dreams moment where if you build it, they will come. They really will. That's not just a great line by a writer. Like when you build something that you're passionate about and you love, they're going to come. And they've come in droves. There are many major leaguers, past and present, that want to grow the game and engage kids. So I'm in the right business for that kind of a story.
that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. And it's so cool because it does take risk, I think, for you to even just say, you're Rod Carew, right? I mean,
Definitely a risk to do it. And I've never been afraid of that. I think that's a blessing from probably my dad. Just go get it, whatever it takes.
Why not,
go get
right?
it. Why not? Exactly. And it takes guys like, again, name drop Joe Buck, guys like that believe in you, to give you that confidence to say, you need to go up to Rod Carew and say, "Hey, you're Rod Carew."
Right.
And so when you've got people that are in your corner that believe in you, it really gives you that extra boost. One last thing about Rod Carew, he held this bat that he signed, and I'll never forget, because he loves to hit, and he slowly put his fingers on the bat, and he just says, just like a yummy, Oh
Good.
man, it was so memorable. But
He was bringing
yeah,
it back.
Rod
So
Carew.
talk about that passion. And because again, if people have to show up and if you build it, they will come. That is correct. I 1,000% believe in that, but you have to build it. And so walk us through that building stage for you when you're taking something completely different than in just a normal baseball camp, right? There's a million baseball camps that Rod Carew could go to. Any baseball camp in the country would let him come to those, right? And let him talk for 20 minutes. And this just happened from a visit at a gas station. But let's go back, right, to the stuff where you were getting kicked in the teeth, right, where you were getting knocked down and people were telling you, no, this is a bad idea. Your wife maybe even saying, hey, do you think this really is going to provide for our family, right? Maybe she didn't say that. I have no idea. But those are the thoughts, right? When people are driving down the road right now and they're listening to this or they're exercising, those are the things that we hear from people, right? Why are you doing this, Brett? Why are you leaving a good job that you had and going to take a risk with a wife that's 8 months pregnant with your fourth child so you can go start Visionary Wealth Advisors? Is now the right time? No, it's a terrible time. What do you say to that?
Well, for me, I have two things to say. I needed a push to even go be Coach Ballgame from my wife. Needed a good push. And secondly, I was a bad coach first. Like I was not a good coach. I wasn't a positive coach. I was kind of coaching kids like they were 18, but they're only 5 or 6 or 7. So they weren't having fun and I wasn't having fun. But I'll start with the push.
And I'm sorry, did this start because you had a kid at that age that you wanted to do it? Or what made you like coach baseball?
No.
Okay.
Originally out of college, it was just a paying gig where I got to be on a baseball field.
Got it.
And, I didn't have to wait as many tables. I was able to, be on a baseball field. But at no point prior to the age of 30 did I say, I want to be a youth baseball coach for the rest of my life. No, I wanted to write. I wanted to play music. I wanted to be an actor. And this was just a paying gig that was really fun, where I got to, have some fun and engage kids with my wackiness. And I got to be on a baseball field. But the actual push from my wife to go all in with Coach Ballgame, I mean, I didn't want to do it. I was kind of scared at first. I was like, well, right now we're in a safe place where I'm doing some private lessons and I'm waiting some tables and I'm kind of the right-hand man of this guy that coaches these camps. And she's like, you've got something. You can really start your own thing and This coach Ballgame thing can be bigger than baseball. She saw it and she pushed me. And there were practices where we'd see driving by and she's like, you should go pass out some flyers. And I'm like, no, I'm nervous. I don't want to do that. And I think about that me, 10 years ago. And I'm like, what was wrong with me? Because now I'll go anywhere and I'll say, hey, you should come to my thing. Here's a flyer. You should come. But back then I was scared and I needed Mrs. Ballgame is her nickname, Tara Jean Lowe. She really gave me that shove. And she basically gave me an ultimatum, like, you're going to go all in with Coach Ballgame or I'm just going to leave. And, and that was that. I was like, okay, I got to do this because I can get really comfy where I'm at, and it can be hard for me to go elsewhere. And I needed that shove, and she saw that. So,
how many people showed up to your first camp?
What's that?
How many people showed up to your first camp?
At the first camp here in Orange County, there were probably 12, and 2 people paid because 10 people were family, nieces, nephews, cousins, friends. So we just started a 1-week summer camp in 2015, 12 kids. And that was right when my oldest daughter had been born. So, that becoming a father, it really kind of
pushes you a
turned
little bit.
My volume up. Yeah, it's time for me to really do this. So up until last year, I was going all over, even up to LA to do private lessons while I was building this sandlot and building my camps. But MLK Day, we ran a camp in Orange County and we had 73 kids. President's Day on Monday, we had 70 kids. I've got 18 sandlots per week going now. And
so what is that
PE
sandlot?
classes.
Sorry to keep interrupting, but I just think it's so important. So what is this sandlot that you have 18 of them going?
Yep. So I'll drop bases down at a sandlot that has a backstop, and there's thousands of them all over the place.
So just a normal baseball field.
Yep, that are empty. And a lot of them don't have dugouts, but there's the backstop. And it's like, why is that backstop there? And why is nobody out there? So on Mondays, I'll go to one part of town and I'll coach a beginners group, an intermediate group, and an advanced group. And it really is all about fun. Because
and what did you do? I'm going to keep interrupting. I apologize.
Please.
But so what did you do though to get somebody to show up and pay you money because you are this much better baseball coach than the guy or gal down the street that's, got them inside a indoor hitting machine and doing all this stuff and mechanics? And how do you get people to show up to that? What'd you do?
Yeah, just word of mouth and slowly, very slowly. But, with that first camp in 2015 of 12 kids, they told a couple of friends and the word started to get out. Hey, this is another option to Little League. And what I started to notice in Little League and especially in travel ball is this elitism and this, you have to only play baseball all year. You have to have the best equipment. You have to be really good and experienced at the game. And I did not like that at all. So when a parent really came and told me their kid wants to quit baseball because of that elitism, and then another kid comes up to me at one of my camps of 14, 15 kids and says, my coach won't let me play soccer because we have to play baseball year round. That was it for me. I said, I've got to create a once a week thing where they can show up, learn the skills, have a ton of fun, and still go be a kid and play basketball and soccer and other sports. So that was the origination of the Sandlot. And I had one a week going at a location 5 years ago. And then as the years went on, as the seasons went on, we found a new location and we just built and built and built slowly. But it's really been all word of mouth with the little help of social media, Facebook and Instagram. But the word has really gotten out during the shutdown because all little leagues are down and not a lot is going on. And we could still get the Sandlots going. We kept everything safe and we kept the kids separated and we checked temperatures and the coaches wear masks. And we were able to, still sustain these fields that we were using. And it's grown and grown and grown to the point where in April and May, we'll do 2 PE classes and 18 sandlots per week in different towns. And we're able to kind of divvy it up, beginner, intermediate, advanced. But yeah, a slow burn and a lot of private lessons using a floodlight behind a McDonald's with wiffle balls from the years of 2010 to now, to put food on the table as we built this thing slowly.
So awesome. I mean, I have thousands of questions on that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I just love it because
away.
it's, to your point, man, you had 2 people that paid you to do this, where some people would give up. Be like, this is cool. I want to do baseball. I want to play the drums and do all this stuff. But man, this is a lot of work. And I think it just, whether you're a coach baseball, you're a visionary, you're a lawyer, a doctor, whatever you are, a stay-at-home mom or dad, it's hard freaking work. And it's showing up every day and getting through the crap and doing it anyway.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Staying positive it can be really hard. And for me, I had people that pushed me, that believed in me. And right about the time the rubber met the road is when Mrs. Ballgame just said, go do this thing. This is big. And she saw it. She saw what it could be. And it was, it's all thanks to her. And like I said, my parents just believing in me to do it. But yeah, many nights of driving from Orange County up to LA and doing, 10, 12, 14 lessons a day just to get by, kind of hoping one day maybe, I can run my own little league or my own sandlot league. And now it's really starting to go. So, but there's strikes and gutters because Joe Buck opened up a door to run camps with MLB 2 years ago. And we were shooting content, interviewing Harrison Bader and Whit Merrifield and MLB players and creating content. And I was running camps for them. And then the shutdown hits and it's all pushed on pause. So, the face of youth baseball, as we were trying to create Coach Ballgame to be, was just nothing. So I do have this eternal optimism. Kind of, I look at everything half full, and sometimes that's great, sometimes it's not. But for this job, it's very great. I just said, well, I'm going to get in the backyard and I'm going to do a live YouTube PE class every morning because no kids are going to school. They need to be active.
That's right.
And we created this, and we did 80 live PE classes. Sometimes I'd bring in major leaguers to teach us how to throw a fastball. Sometimes, a coach in New Jersey that could teach us how to really field a ground ball correctly. And using, YouTube and Instagram Live, we were able to, just stay afloat.
Yeah.
And then things started to open up here in Orange County where we could get back to in-person activities. And yeah, we're ready to crank it up this summer. I always go to North Carolina and run a camp in my hometown every June. And then the rest I do here in Orange County. And hopefully we'll be able to go to St. Louis soon.
That's right. We're going to make it happen, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do our listeners find more of Coach Ballgame, man? It's an unbelievable story, and we could go on and on. I know that, but where do we find more of you? Somebody wants to learn about you. They want to hire you, whatever it may be. Where do they learn?
Yep. Well, I think Instagram's probably the first place to stop. If you got Instagram, I post videos on everything, on instruction, on how to teach kids, how to engage kids, how to run effective practices. Some are funny where it's me in the backyard with my jean shorts dancing, all across the board, some wacky, some serious, but that's a good representation. You get a lot of pictures and videos of my camps and my sandlots there. CoachBallgame.com. That's where all my blogs and my podcasts are. I've done some interviews with some major leaguers, and we kind of unpack a lot of different things on youth baseball and coaching and engaging kids. blogs. Registration for all my camps is found at coachballgame.com. And then the YouTube channel is where my long form videos are, my interviews with Rod Carew and Whit Merrifield and Joe Buck and Ozzie Smith, and all those are found on the YouTube channel. And then you got Twitter and even TikTok, where I've gotten a lot of kids to learn the game of baseball with, dancing and things of that nature. So I'll
have to get my kids to look you up on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
I know. There you go. Give it a follow. There'll be some hitting baseballs and dancing on there.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, James, it's been awesome having you, or Coach Ballgame, as I should say. It's been awesome having you. Let's definitely stay on here and let's connect about getting you to St. Louis.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. I said we were done, but we're not done. We got one more story that we want to talk about. Not we, you. You got a great story you want to talk about. Talk to us about that baseball right there.
Well, it's a good problem to have, I guess, to have too many stories. But this is Roberto Clemente's son, Luis. And my grandfather was from Puerto Rico, and he gave me a book when I was really young about his hero, Roberto. And I've got it way up high there beside my Rod Carew book. But he loved, what Roberto meant to Puerto Rico. And he specifically said, pay attention to what he did off the field. So Roberto has kind of become this spiritual figure at all of my camps and sandlots, where I always tell his story to all the kids. And I've written a poem about him, written a song about him. Roberto, you're my hero. You used a lemon for a ball and a stick for a bat. You showed respect for your mom and you worked hard for dad. You're my hero. That's the chorus to this song I've written about him. But all the kids, they've gotten to go home and Google Roberto Clemente because of my camps. And, their parents will go find a Roberto Clemente baseball card and show it to them. But that meaning, and Adam Wainwright just won the Roberto Clemente Award. That Ozzie Smith has won that. And the meaning behind just being kind and transcending the field and being a good person, I really think that's what Major League Baseball stands for. And that's why 21 needs to be retired, the number. But I got to sing that song to Luis in Cleveland at the All-Star game. He was there, and without fail, every time I tell the story or sing the song, a plane flies overhead 100% of the time. So I'm singing this song, a plane flies overhead to Luis Clemente. And the last verse is, so when I asked my grandpa Tony what made him your hero, 3,000 hits, Hall of Fame, why was he the pride of Puerto Rico? I noticed a tear in his eye. He said, when Sweetness took that jersey off he so proudly wore, he loaded up planes full of gifts and he gave to the poor. And Clemente was his name. And, Luis was crying. I was tearing up because it just felt cryy. And afterwards, we hugged and he said, from dad to you. And I just got, those chills that you really don't ever get rid of. And then he signed this baseball. But I think life's kind of, when I'm on my deathbed, life is going to be those pictures and those quotes of from dad to you, and Rod Carew saying, you'll see me again. And Ozzie Smith saying, St. Louis is a great baseball town. That's what's going to shine, and my wife saying, go be Coach Ballgame. So that was another one of those moments that I'll cherish. And now kids all around the globe know who Roberto is, not because of me, but I can help that. And hopefully I can help MLB kind of just grow more of a Roberto Clemente vibe of being kind to other people. And that's what baseball should stand for.
Well, making it fun, right? This is, again, with four boys, I see the side of baseball where it becomes less fun sometimes because of the expectations of sports and everybody running around. It's like, man alive. Just
looking through the wrong lens. Yeah. Look through
I've been blessed with
Roberto.
good coaches. My kids have got great coaches and we keep it fun. And But yeah, it's I see it through my kids, through other kids. It's a crazy world that's out there.
Yeah.
Is that guitar in tune by any chance? Are you going to sing a little song?
it is not, but it's still worth a good look. I do need to tune it up, but it's worth a good look so you can see Guy Gilchrist, who painted all of the Muppet Babies and Sesame Street characters. He's got Albert on there. He's got Kermit the Frog. He's got Count, and he's got Big Bird there. And yeah, it's definitely a bit out of tune, but I promised you an Andre Dawson song as well. So it out of tune goes like this. I love you, Andre Dawson. I love you, Andre Dawson. I love you, Andre Dawson. You're my favorite player. So that's the chorus. Andre. But there you go, Andre. There's some more to it. Talking about his days of being the Hawk and making it into Hall of Fame. But yeah, man, oh man,
great stuff.
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Well, we will put your all of your stuff, where to find you, in the show notes, and we'll share your YouTube channel and all sorts of stuff, man. Doing my research, I just love your energy. I have no doubt that you're going to be helping Major League Baseball. And as Rod Carew said, we'll see you again. We'll see you again for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you, brother.
Tune in next week for another episode of The Circuit of Success with Brett Gilliland on the lineupmedia.fm podcast network. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and through our website, circuitofsuccess.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and email any questions to info@circuitofsuccess.com.
This podcast was a presentation of lineupmedia.fm.